So I'm back because my residency got approved. I had to drive all the way back to Chicago to have them stamp my passport. So I am here today. This time I did not come alone. My daughter, one of my kids, is with me. So we're about to go into the consulate, get that stamp. Oh my gosh, it's so windy. So I apologize, my hair is everywhere. Okay. Right, and I'm here, and I just turned my passport in so that they can do whatever they're gonna do with it. It is only because of travel hacking that we ever discovered this part of Mexico and were able to return to it multiple times over the last 6 years, to the point where we decided this is a place where we really want to lay down some roots and become part of the community here. There are many reasons why we're choosing to move away from the area that we're from and into the area that I'm in right now. One of the top reasons is the climate. So where we're from, there are 4 very defined seasons, with winter lasting anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 months of the year, where it is just cold. It's a lot of snow, a lot of ice, a lot of extreme cold and freezing. It's dangerous to drive. It's dangerous to go outside at times because the temperature and the wind chill factor will be so low that you can literally freeze in a matter of minutes. I find that, me personally, I will be cold, like just cold to the bone, for months at a time, like a good 3 solid months out of the year. I am just cold, cannot get warm. I stand by our fireplace like with a blanket so that like all the air from the fireplace is coming into the blanket, just to like try to get my body warm, taking warm baths, trying to do things during my workday at my desk to keep my hands from freezing up so that I can continue to type, since I work on the computer most of the day. It's just like, it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to be cold, and for once it's kind of like, let's move somewhere that isn't like this for part of the year, so we just don't have to do that at all. Now, the trade-off is that here in the Yucatan state, it is very hot and also very humid. It's got like a jungle-like feel to it, and it can be pretty unbearable during the day. However, the mornings and the evenings tend to be really nice. Right now I'm here in what would be considered the spring where I'm from, and we're looking at like overnight and morning and evening temperatures in the 70s or 80s, and then during the day temperatures in the 90s all the way up into like 101 degrees, in that range, kind of Fahrenheit, of course I'm talking. So we're looking at, between 35 and 40 degrees Celsius, I believe. And then at night, it gets down more into the upper 20s, mid to upper 20s of Celsius. So to me, that's very comfortable. It's a much more comfortable climate to be in than to be freezing for months of the year. So climate is like probably the number one reason. But the second reason, a very close second, is the language. I have always been fascinated with languages. I happened to study Spanish when I was in school a little bit. I did not do well at it. I did not put forth very much effort, but I took in enough Spanish in school to give me a really solid basis for later on. And so I have like a whole story I can tell about my language journey, but to tell you kind of the short version, I got a job right out of high school as a person who relayed phone calls for deaf people, okay? And then as that company grew, the need for Spanish speaking and Spanish writing and reading communication assistants kind of arose. And so I was like, hey, I took a couple years of high school Spanish. There's a test. If I pass the test, I make a significant amount more per hour. I was very young, 18 at the time. So I decided, what the heck, I'm going to take the test. Well, much to my surprise, not necessarily surprise, but I was kind of surprised. I passed the test, really passed the test, and I was like, oh crap. I have to do phone calls in Spanish now. And so when you're doing phone calls for deaf people, you're like reading what they write and then saying it to a hearing person and vice versa. A lot of this is kind of obsolete now because of the revolutions in the internet and whatnot. So anyway, I had to learn really fast. So I would purposely sit next to native Spanish speakers at work and I made friends with them. We would speak in Spanish together. They would help correct my Spanish. So I got better at the speaking and understanding part through that. School really gave me the basis of the reading and writing. I still feel like I'm stronger at the reading and writing, but I am thirdly as strong at speaking, and then the hardest thing for me is understanding. I know that's the opposite for a lot of people, but when I'm here, it is amazing how quickly I can get to where I'm able to kind of think in Spanish, and I just love that feeling. Absolutely love it. I love being able to use a different language, and it opens up so many doors. Thank you to all of my Spanish teachers that tolerated me and my mediocrity. Is that the right word? Yeah, I think so. At Spanish. I mean, I don't think that any of them ever would have thought that I would go live in a Spanish speaking country and be able to function. But here I am, and it's fine. I have on average definitely a higher level of Spanish than most people who look like me here. So I like that. Part of the language stuff is that we have a daughter who's young and about to start school. Having her to be able to go to school in full immersion Spanish is a huge goal. Having her, giving her the opportunity to speak Spanish without an accent and speak English without an accent, both of those, it has to come at this early age. There's a window of time and we are in it, and this is the perfect time for her to start learning and really like soaking up both languages to be solid in both. So language is kind of the second thing. The third reason is culture. So neither me nor my husband are Mexican. We have some extended family that are Mexican that we're not blood related to, but that have married in. But like really our exposure to this culture is just from us coming here. And we love it. Like there actually is culture here in Mexico. Where we're from, there really is not culture. There are, it's a melting pot of lots of different people from different parts of the world, but like most of us are third or fourth generation in the United States, and we do not carry the customs of our family. I'm almost 100% Norwegian, a little bit of German, and I know very little about the culture that makes up my DNA, which is sad. And all of the people in my family who actually were from Norway, they're not with us anymore. And so whatever I learned about my culture, I learned when I was a kid and kind of brushed it off and didn't care, which is unfortunate, but like I don't carry any connection to being Norwegian except for how I look. My husband's family is mostly British, and he's never even been to the UK. He's done a lot of other traveling, but never specifically been to the UK. And so we don't feel a connection with that culture either. And so just with the fact that neither of us are carrying culture with us, why not go and embrace a new culture and try to like integrate ourselves as best we can into the things that they've been doing here in the Yucatan for generations and generations. So that's another part, is that there's a lot of culture here. It's a very rich culture. It's a culture that we find a lot of like similarity in our values and feel like we could embrace. Hopefully they'll embrace us. The fourth and final reason is pretty obvious. It's that we can afford a more comfortable standard of living here. So we're pretty much solidly in the middle class, I would say, in the United States, meaning like we own a home, we both have, gainful employment, we have health insurance, although it's crazy expensive, so like, and we have a car and whatever. So we're fine. But here we can have more of that for less and have more money that we can use for investments and for other travel that we might want to do. So it's not just about like coming here and being like, oh, I can have a way better house. Like that might be a part of it, but we might also get a house that's just kind of very similar to what we have already. It'll be less expensive, great, but it's more about like we can hire help. We can hire somebody to come in and clean, not just like once every other week, but somebody that really comes in like 3 or 4 or 5 days a week and cooks and helps with the kids and keeps things organized, maybe does some shopping for us. Like it frees up a lot of our time then to do the things we actually care about. For me, a lot of that is my work. I absolutely love my work. And the other part of that is my kids and being able to spend quality time with family. So the more comfortable standard of living is how I describe it. It's not so much about just the money issue, but it's that your dollar or your pesos go so much further in a country like Mexico. Good morning. So this morning is my final appointment with immigration here in Mexico to finish up my temporary residency, and as I understand it, I should be walking out of that appointment with my temporary residency card. So that is a pretty big moment, I feel. I don't know, for some people it might not be a big deal, but for me it feels like a huge deal, something that's been coming for a long time. So I have been instructed not to wear green, white, or stripes, something to do with their cameras. Apparently I'm having my picture taken again, and then also to wear very light makeup, which is what I've got right now, and then no jewelry. So I'm assuming this is gonna have to go. I'm not so sure about my top 2 earrings. These are ones that I pretty much keep in all the time, and then I switch out the bottom ones. So I'm gonna wait and see, but I'm prepared to take out the nose ring and see how it goes. So this is an appointment where I do have to go in by myself because of COVID. The person who's helping me with the process of getting my residency is not able to come in with me, so she's just gonna be outside.